The seat taken?
Nobody's in the seat, then it ain't taken, friend.
So this is Sabacc?
Sabacc.
What is up, card players and scoundrels? Welcome back to another episode of Sabacc the Block. I am obviously here with the usual co-host, Emma Fyffe in the house. What is up, Emma?
Hello. What is up? GameStop stock, I tell you what.
I guess it is. And obviously joining us this week to make our reunion of Jedi Council, it is Mr. Ken Napzok. What is up, Ken?
My AMC stock is stalling.
Hey!
Hey. Got that AMC A-list going on?
Oh, man.
Hey, friends.
I had a horrible experience the last time I went to an AMC, but in all fairness, I did go in the middle of the afternoon on City Walk to see Sonic the Hedgehog. So really, I did that to myself.
Ooh, yeah, that is rough. That is very rough. Obviously, guys, as you can see by what is on your screen right now, we have a crazy reunion. It is the very short-lived Jedi Council 2.0 that was currently on an old channel a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We were on for what, 2 months?
Not even. It was
not even.
Yeah. Definitely was on my way out the door to do our first show of 2020.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time, an interesting time. We'll get to it a little bit. Just some little small BTS stories that you guys might have. But other than that, I want to catch up with you, Ken. Obviously, we haven't seen you in a minute, at least not on the first cut airwaves for a hot minute. So I kind of want to catch up with what you've been up to. I know you're doing GPA, right?
Yeah, Josh McCouga, Mark Riley, Eric Bass from Shinedown and myself launched a company called the Good People Association. We're not the good people. You out there are the good people, and we are forming up. It is a digital brand, of course, YouTube shows, but it's also a production company. We actually have plans to make things, movies, TV show pitches, things, we'll probably lose a lot of money and bury my life, but and good things. And also it's Empire Fun and a lot of focus on charity work, and eventually when it's appropriate, to actually get out locally here and get involved and encourage people in the communities. Just kind of us trying to the next phases of our careers, but of course, but also not just spread positivity in a surface sense, but just like let's actually try to force ourselves and others to come along with us to think outside of ourselves a little bit more. So that's kind of what's going on.
Can you kind of run down what kind of shows you guys got going on? I know you have like a weekly schedule, right?
Silly stuff, which I can't wait to have you, Emma, and UACE and RB3 in the control room on the shows as well, and many other folks. We have the Positivity Report, which Josh McCouga's morning show at 9 a.m. Pacific. We have Good People, Good Movies. We have the GPA Live, our main show. We have Josh Brady, the fastest game show on the internet. Afternoons with Josh, Ken, and Amanda is on over there now. Riley's Canteen and other cool programs along the way. Some will be exclusive, some will be short run. I'm gonna do a lot of music programming because music I used to actually be not only a rock DJ, a lot of people know that, but I was like a music journalist for a while, and love to just talk rock music and that kind of stuff, but all kind of music, that kind of stuff, board games, silly things. I'm just advertising.
Well, at this point, man, I can't lie. I've seen a little bit of Josh Brady on the kind of funny streams. I know they've done him there, and I love that you guys are bringing that back. I know you guys have had a couple of those kind of funny guys on, but those are great, man. I've always enjoyed watching Josh kind of do his own thing.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun and silly. I was complaining to you guys off air, not complaining to a strong word, but just like we're launching a company. So I spent 3 days on the phone with the.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, like I'll get you a certificate of insurance. Don't you worry. Like not creative stuff, but we're having a lot of fun on there. And we have our Twitch channel, and on Wednesdays we just Twitch stream for 5 hours a crock pot cooking our dinner.
Ooh,
Great.
That sounds entertaining.
I mean,
as
that's the kind of avant-garde programming they're looking for over at Twitch. So
I really appreciate that you added an art to it, other than just food cooking. But yeah.
So you just stream the crock pot. It's not. There's no person involved, no tending. It's just the crock pot.
You will come along. We start. We launch the show. One of us brings a recipe every week. We prepare it, put it in. We have the crock pot has its own.
No, I like it.
Flashing lights on it, and it's called the hot crock pot. And then occasionally we'll pipe in and do some commentary. But really, it's people. There's about 30 people each day that just watch a crock pot cook.
There you go, man. Hey. And speaking of 30 people, we currently have 30 people in the chat.
Exactly.
Now,
they came here specifically
crockpot
because
here.
they saw it advertised on Crockpot Times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
unfortunately not.
and we have 30 people in this chat, but we do have people watching on Twitch as well, and we have people watching on Periscope. That's right, we are streaming on all 3 platforms tonight: YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. So make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, leave us a chat. If you're watching on Twitch, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, give us a retweet. Do whatever you can to help support the show. This is a Jedi Council reunion, very special, y'all, very special.
Speaking of which, Style and Moose in the chat says the Good People Association is a good channel. Style and Moose, it's a company. I don't know what you're talking about this channel. But no, obviously showing a lot of love to you there, Ken, as well. I also want to catch up on, obviously, the, I don't know, what did we say, Emma? The dude back in the room? The Bantha in the room?
Yeah.
I don't know. We agreed to something. I forgot. The
one works.
Ronto in the room. We can do the Ronto in the room. Yeah, exactly. Either way, let's kind of. I kind of want to catch up as far as like if you have any good memories as far as what was the very very short-lived Jedi Council 2.0 that we created for a very short amount of time. Any kind of good memories that you guys want to toss out there, just to go on the good vibes train?
Well, it was when the Mandalorian television series launched. So I got to do some press coverage around that, which was cool. So I got to go see the first, I think it was 3 episodes at the El Cap Theater, which was really neat. I also got to do some press coverage around the release of Jedi Fallen Order, which was really neat. I was really honored that like I had literally just started working on Jedi Council, you know, in a more permanent capacity. I'd been a guest on Jedi Council for years at that point. But I was very honored that, you know, when these opportunities came up that like Thad asked if I wanted to do them. So that was neat.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And I was glad I got to like get real deep and nerdy on the history of Mandalore, and thank you, Adam, for cycling through the like hundreds of images that I sent him for that presentation. Yes. So
Adam was always overwhelmed, but he still made it work. He really was. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna do this. All right, I'm gonna do this." Ken, how about you?
Look, here's what I loved what we did in the short amount of time that we did. It was a hard task.
Yeah.
We knew what we were up against. We knew that the show had been around for a number of years, and a lot of people had grown to what it was and grown to the personalities that were on before. Emma, you had been on many times, as you know. And Ace, whether or not you've been on before, I couldn't remember. Maybe 1 or 2, right? No. You weren't?
No.
Yeah.
No. I was on a
you're on Movie Talk.
Movie Talk.
Yeah.
I was on Movie Talk a couple times. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, you and Wendy Lee had been on for the first time ever. It was like in the office there for a long time.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I can't
Emma.
believe that Wendy had not been on until we were hosting.
That's
the
what
show.
we said when she came on. We said it like 10 times when she was on the first time. We were like, I can't believe you've never been on before.
Yeah, I don't want to share too much, but when I asked her, she cried. You know? And she was great. So long story short, I don't want to. I will say this: I do want to give some credit or credits due to Mark Fernandez for this reason.
Sure.
I went to him when I was probably going to leave, and Harloff was on his way out, and we didn't know if the show was going to go. But we had episode 9, we had Mandalorian, and the Star Wars is still viable. And I just went to him and I said, I have an idea for maybe what could do. Thad was on board, and I said, I'd love Emma Fyffe and Andres Cabrera to come on. And Mark went like this. He goes, if you feel they're the ones, they're the ones. I trust you on it. So boom, come in, and essentially it was I was going to be Luke on an island, and you two were I thought the future. Look at you got the show now, and we were going to do outside. We had things planned. Remember, Emma, we were going to send all the lightsaber fighting. We were going to do segments, a lot of things, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I missed that. But I was real proud of what we did.
Yeah. I was definitely excited about like a lot of the ideas that we had in terms of expanding what the show was, which was to make it more of a produced show and to have, and I mean, you know, I think it's some of the stuff that, you know, obviously like in a different way, but that ultimately I think y'all are leaning towards with the future of the GPA, which is the idea of like getting out there and getting directly involved with your communities, because like there is this huge Star Wars community out there, particularly a huge creative Star Wars community that isn't just, you know, caught up in, do I know the name of the guy in the green jacket, 6 from the left in the background scene of this thing, which I'm sure Ace does at this point. But, there's people out there that are in like the lightsaber fighting community and the cosplay community. I think we really wanted to kind of highlight some of that and just like get out there and enjoy Star Wars more.
Yeah, that was going to be. And I mean that sincerely. It wasn't like I'm done. Obviously, I'm very happy with the Force.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, the Force Center corner, me, Scrimshaw, and Lando when she can. Like I love that corner. I kind of wanted to retreat to that, and I knew it was just smart to just like let's build something brand new. And I'm confident that you two over there would have led the way and led the future, and now you put it over here, and hopefully more First Cut listeners support this and keep this growing because you two are great at what you do, and it was fun. It was fun for an old guy to sit there and just kind of. Go, you guys got this.
Yeah, and it's obviously the kind of community that we wanted to bring was definitely a more positive angle to what we were seeing at the moment. And obviously it's been multiplied times 10 now, at least I think it has, with certain stuff that's been going on in the fandom, of course, now. But I always feel like I think that's kind of what we can do now. And as awful and as horrible as COVID has been throughout these past year and a half, I think it's given us an opportunity to possibly reach out to different Star Wars fans around the country, maybe even around the world. I had Alden Diaz on last week, guys. Obviously, Emma couldn't make it, and Ken, you weren't there as well.
A wild day in my life.
Yeah, but I think that's the kind of weird community that we kind of been bringing to Star Wars, where you like... If you look really deep, you can see a lot of negativity, but if you kind of like search a little bit through the haystack, you can find the diamonds in the rough, and you can find people like Alden and other people in the community like the Damons, who I believe I'm having. Amalia just agreed to come on next week, so we're going to have Molly Damon on next week. So you can put the horns for that RB3. No, you don't have to. or the clap sound. There you go. But either way, stuff like that is I got the opportunity to meet people like the Damons who I've never met before. I mean, obviously they were a part of Schmodown before I was in the Schmodown. But once I got into it, I was able to meet them and really get to know them a little bit more and really just feel the warmth across a computer screen, which I was like, oh man, can you feel this kind of kindness through this far away? But you can, and it's really cool to see that kind of Star Wars community that I see starting to sprout up a little bit more now. As the negativity rises, the light rises to meet it. But seriously.
Yeah, and again, it's not even the word positive gets sometimes thrown in my face as a negative. And it's not even about 100% positive. If you call me super positive, you haven't listened to everything I've talked about Star Wars. It's not about that. It's about curating your audience and curating and choosing how you discuss it.
Yes.
Choosing how you present any opinions about it is part of what I think you guys, you all here are Robert in the booth are building here, and that's what's fun for me, And
I think one of the things that's interesting too, and just like an observation I've had in feedback that I've gotten about certain things in my career recently that I pushed back on, is this whole idea of, you guys agree too much. And I'm like, no. It's not that we agree. It's that we're having an intelligent discourse about something and we're not yelling at each other because we have different opinions.
Sure.
Look, I'm a sports guy. Ace, I know you're too. Emma, I know you don't follow sports too much. Curling up there, caber toss. You're Scottish, caber toss, right?
I know what that is.
But I'm a competitive sports guy too, but that kind of attitude of everything's a debate that needs to be won is something that I'm not excited by that. I don't think it's good radio, TV, everything. Some people enjoy it, and God bless you if you do. I'm not saying it's not viable for some people. It's just
totally
not fun. And that's why Scrimshaw and I have full discussions, and we don't often approach it at the same side. One of the big I love the character Cobb Vanth and did not like Timothy Olyphant as Cobb Vanth. He loved him beyond belief, and we had a nice discussion about it.
That's great.
And that's what we choose to discuss it like that. So Emma, I'm with you on that. It drives me crazy when I hear that. I just don't like everyone to agree. That's
you're not listening then if you think that everybody agrees.
Not a boxing match. It's not a contest. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
And sometimes everybody does agree, and that's also okay.
Yeah, and it could be different perspectives or different favorite moments or favorite characters, which we will get into this episode, actually. That's funny enough we mention it. And obviously, I can't, say that too much because we did make this channel. This channel was supposed to be the first take of movies, was my pitch to RB3, which is why it's called First Cut, full disclosure. Oops. Yep. Shout out to Stephen A. And Max Kellerman. But that was kind of our idea. Go ahead.
No, it is a form of entertainment, and I believe every broadcast, even every Twitch broadcast, is that I'm playing a character. Now I'm real, but I'm performing.
Yeah.
This is a performance, and so it could be fun. But it's just like at some point, I remember on some of the other shows I would help produce and everything, it got taken too seriously. Where even the people on the show were just having fun, fighting over what Batman was their favorite. And
right.
suddenly, it got taken so seriously, and you just couldn't just discuss the merits of both Batman.
Sure.
We used to have like fun fights on TV Talk sometimes that were manufactured. You know what I mean? Like it was literally like okay, Emma and Makuga, you're gonna argue about what the best, sitcom of the 2000 to 2010 is. Just stuff like that. Yeah. Where again, like it's fun to, as you say, just like argue about stuff that really doesn't matter, like who your favorite Batman is. Like that's subjective. It doesn't matter.
Ace and I can fight right now. I can get a fight started with Ace right now. I really like Baelish's storyline in season 7 of Game of Thrones.
Ooh, I don't know about that take, man. That's a rough. Yeah, that's definitely garbage. That's a rough take, man. I still to this day, like on a daily basis, think about how they did my boy dirty like that. But R.I.P. Peter Baelish, the GOAT, the greatest that ever lived.
Yeah, I didn't like season 7 of Game of Thrones very much, but I did. But I did.
Oh, you did like that?
Storyline.
I hated that so bad.
I was like, nah, this makes sense.
I was like, damn, this brought down the whole season for me.
I'm like an agent of chaos.
Yeah, there you go. See? I still love that scene between Varys and Littlefinger when he says, "One shudders at the thought." One shudders at the thought, and he does that little thing. That actor is incredible. Yeah. But obviously, this is a Star Wars podcast. Quickly, I want to talk about my moment. My moment will always be, and I know this is so controversial now, but it's December 17th, 2019, where I got to go to my first ever screening of a movie. I've been in LA. I was in LA for 5 years. And I was at Schmoes for 3 years. Never got to go to a screening. And I finally got to go to one, and it was The Rise of Skywalker. It was the end of the saga. It was the end of the trilogy that I loved so much because I loved Rey, Poe, and Finn. And I had a blast, and I was on top of the world. And then I got to see the Clippers play the Suns that same night. It was a late night game. We got destroyed by 34 points, but that's not the point. The point is I got to see an early screening of The Rise of Skywalker, even though it was only 2 days before the movie eventually came out.
Well,
I loved
the premiere was like the day before that.
Yeah,
so
it was.
They kept it close to the chest.
True. But it was still like such a fun time. I tweeted it out. RB3 and I we walked through the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We started talking about it. We recorded a video. That was such a fun moment for me, and it really was a cool experience. And then I didn't know my take would be so controversial months later when everyone was hating on it. And I was like, I like it. And everyone's like, you can't like it. But either way, that's my favorite moment because I really do feel like that was such a cool time to get to see a Star Wars movie and then get to talk about it with you guys, two people that I really do respect and admire so much. So that's my moment right there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Look, the screening, I'll tell you what, I used to go to try to get just my name on the list. I'd go to some people at the other company and be like, hey, can I get on the list? How did you get on the list? And they'd just be like, oh, I don't know. And they walk away. So
my favorite.
You earned it, Ace. You earned it.
You did earn it.
My favorite was always talking to, I'm talking old school Schmoes days, some days that people don't even remember. But like when I would talk to JTE and Copster and even sometimes RB3, I'd be like, hey man, how'd you go to that screening though? Like I was, I wanted to go.
I used to beg RB3 to get me on the list and he'd say, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Look me right.
He's a big deal in this town. He wasn't sure,
Yeah.
Ken, if you were gonna, soil his reputation. So
He was dapping up Donald Glover at the Black Panther screening. He told me.
I didn't dap him up, but I did get to say hi to him.
You did talk to him.
Yeah, I did say hi to him, and he
Yeah.
said hi back. I thought that was
There
pretty
you
dope.
go.
That was really dope.
That's the same thing, man. It's the same. Take it. But either way, that was a great moment for me, and obviously that was a great short-lived time. Obviously, what could have been a lot of things, but I feel like now it is a cool time to reach that. At least now, personally, me with Sabacc the Block and with reaching out to different people from different communities around the Star Wars community. So hopefully we get to do that. Let's quickly to any Star Wars news that we have, RB3. So if you have the soundbite.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
So this first story, we don't know if it's true, but right now the rumor is that Korean cinematographer Chung Hoon is set to be the DP for the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, this guy's work includes a really cool Korean movie that I actually want to toss to RB3 about because I know he loves this one, called The Handmaiden. He's a DP of The Handmaiden. You know this one, right, RB3? You're the one who told me about it, right?
Yeah, I love The Handmaiden. I have his picture.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I have his picture up here. That's a sick, twisted, dark, amazing movie, but the cinematography definitely stands out. I just think Korean cinema in general is just beautiful. So this, I think, but
it really is
crazy.
So if this is the case, how do you guys react to this? I mean, obviously it's pretty exciting to see Korean DPs, like RB3 said, a lot of Korean cinema is really popping off, especially after last year with Parasite's win of Best Picture.
Yeah.
I think this is a cool decision. I don't know. What do you think,
mean,
Emma?
If this is correct, like we're looking at like a dark, sexy Obi-Wan series, and you know what? I'm with it.
Same.
Yeah. What do you think, Ken?
This is fantastic, and if Deborah Chow's like, hey, this is the chap we need to work with, I trust that decision. They got a good team behind it. It's a win for diversity behind the screen.
Yes,
Which has been justly criticized at times, a little bit. So it's good there in that regard. But that aside, he brings a long list of qualifications, and for me, I'm not super familiar with his work, but guess what? Now I'm going to be able to discover it. And to see someone have that challenge because they're going to shoot a lot of stuff on the volume, and that's a wonderful new beautiful way to shoot. It's exciting, and I can't wait for this series.
And I just also think about, when I think of this, I think about like when they got Bradford Young to do Solo, and how much different that movie looks compared to like all the other all the other Star Wars movies. I think this could really have a distinct look too.
Yeah, that is my favorite looking Star Wars film, and I know, and there was some issues. My third viewing of Solo, the theater, whatever the theater, it was a little too blue and dark in the beginning, and I heard some of those complaints. I got it, but the first couple times, and even now watching it at home here, I love the look of that movie. It's so real to me, and I think the way he shot with natural light in the Vandor Lodge, everything. I love that look.
That's my favorite shot Star Wars movie. I'm so glad we agree on that, because I know a lot of people are like, I turn up the brightness, and I'm like, that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be very natural lighting and very interestingly shot. It's very different. It feels fresh. It feels unique. It feels like you're lived in more than almost any other Star Wars movie because of the lighting and because of the cinematography. I love the way that movie is shot. It's so cool. So yeah, hopefully this turns out, and if we do, I know, Ken, we talked about last week too that they're actually shooting quite a few on location in that small town in England because they're building that gigantic set. So I'm assuming they're going to shoot a lot there as well on top of the volume. But I'm definitely interested in how they're going to make the Obi-Wan show look in comparison to a show like The Mandalorian, because it is so unique the way The Mandalorian is shot as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for Andor and a lot of stuff on location. I maybe because I'm old myself nowadays, but I do love the look of the big sweeping films. Like I love the documentary Rise of Skywalker when Boyega's talking to JJ and he's like, "Did we have to come all the way out here?" And he's like, "Yes,
yeah,
we had." But also the volume it keeps in line with Star Wars pushing the technical envelope, and
sure.
I think it's only gotten better, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Do you need the volume for Kenobi at a campfire? I think you do. It'll look great.
We're gonna get that moment of Maul coming up. Do you guys think we're gonna get that in live action? I know a lot of people want to see that, but I don't think we are. No. Okay.
No. And I, you know, this is when I cue it up for Emma here. That scene, that episode of Rebels is amazing.
It is absolutely perfect. And I know I've talked about this on the show before, but again, it's very samurai film, number one, but it is that showdown, because I remember the way it happened when I first watched the episode, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. And then I was like, oh no, that's it. That is perfect. Because it was this perfectly illustrated moment of how Obi-Wan was over anything that had ever transpired between him and Darth Maul. And Darth Maul had just let his hatred of Obi-Wan and his desire to get revenge completely consume him. And he showed up and Obi-Wan didn't care.
Yeah, it's a great moment, and obviously one of the best. It's one of your favorite lightsaber fights, right, Ken?
It's my second. I always love second favorite lightsaber fight, because what Emma just described, Emma just nailed it perfectly. It is about vengeance versus compassion.
Yeah.
It is willingness to change and rise above anything in front of you, and the inability to do that and stay the same. The use of Qui-Gon's fighting stance isn't just a cool nod to Qui-Gon. It is Kenobi saying, I know you're going to try to approach me the same way you did Qui-Gon 20 years ago, and that's going to be your undoing. And it's great thematic, weight to it, that whole scene. So I love it. Yeah, Emma, high five that. I know you love it too.
Yes.
I do. Literally my two favorite characters, Obi-Wan and Maul.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible moment for me as well. Speaking of people behind the camera bringing in a little bit more diversity and more people of color, we have a new EVP of physical production for Lucasfilm.
Oh, yes, I saw this.
Yeah, her name is Momita Sengupta. From Netflix. So she does the physical production at Netflix, and we all know Netflix makes like 100 movies a year. So she clearly knows how to handle a heavy load. Now she's moving over to Lucasfilm, because I'm assuming they're going to double down on their TV series and their films. Any thoughts on Momita Sengupta taking over?
Listen, if you're going to go the route of creating content for your streaming platform, like, clearly she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
I think Netflix has made one or two things.
Netflix knows how to spend money on production, like pretty much all of it on production, if I'm being honest, considering The Irishman and considering other films that cost like hundreds of millions of dollars. They spent so much money on these movies to make sure they look like theater quality, huge budget films, and they usually work out for the best. Yeah. So she clearly knows what she's doing on that end. I'm so curious to see just how much Star Wars is going to turn out. I mean, obviously we know about the TV series, but as far as films go, I'm very curious to see how much of a hand she has on film. Any thoughts, Ken?
I think that you both have just brought up a great point that, other than the skills she currently has, and again, another impressive resume, but like you just said it, Netflix, the joke is, how much stuff Netflix churns out. But Disney Plus, Kugler getting that 5-year deal.
Oh, I know.
Series, and it says in that deal, he could work on other places. There's so many possibilities and so many shows. And I am a fan of everything, of just more, not just Star Wars, but just like more things. Like, I'm all for the stream.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave my house much. I miss a theater. I miss hearing RB3 laugh in person, but I'm home watching things. And if she has that load, knows how to handle that load, like that's a cool thing. That's a great point.
Yeah. She was the SVP of production at Viacom and VP of production at Netflix. And she oversaw all physical production for original series in the US and the UK. And listen, I love some of the stuff that's been coming out on Disney Plus. There are some Netflix series that are like absolutely probably some of my favorite TV series of all time. So I feel good. I feel good about this choice on Lucasfilm's part.
Yeah, I rewatched the last season of The Crown. I'm a Crown stan, straight up Crown.
Oh my God, I love that phrase.
I obsessively watch The Crown and rewatch The Crown, and they murder physical production. Like, my God, do they make you believe that you are a king in a castle and make you believe like these dramatic moments happening in this enormous, crazy, beautiful set with the best acting, the best performances, cameras, camera movement, direction, DP. Like, I swear, like everything is spot on with that show. It's incredible. So if it's anything like that, I'm super happy. Real quick, speaking of Lucasfilm, I know they have, I keep mentioning this, and I know I've mentioned this since like 2016, Ken. I think I've even mentioned this on Schmoes. But Children of Blood and Bone, they were supposed to make that like years. I mean, it's been in the works for a minute. I think it's Rick Famuyiwa that's supposed to do it. It's the novel, the series novel that's based on, I think her name is Tommy Adebawe.
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering that, but either way, that's probably a huge, trilogy, or maybe a 4 set of movies, or maybe even 5 movies. Who knows?
Yeah, I like that. We can get to some of that kind of stuff there too. Yeah, we got Willow coming down the pipe.
Willow, that's another Lucasfilm, non-Disney.
I'm catching. I found the stuff about Children of Blood and Bone, and it's saying now, this is as of December of last year, that James Mangold is at the helm of it, though previously there had been a production in development that Rick Famuyiwa was going to be the director of, but it hasn't said if he's still attached to the film and if James Mangold is directing, or maybe he's producing it. But yeah, but again, this is from like December of last year with no additional updates since then, as far as I can tell.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Because I know that they're really wanting to focus on this because of Lucasfilm trying to do other movies that aren't Star Wars related, but still keep it Lucasfilm related. Like you said, Ken, with Willow. And I know this is another big budget type story that they want to tell. So maybe she'll be involved with that as well. Who knows? Yeah. Real quick, and I know this is going to be going off topic, but I just remembered. Do you guys remember J.D. Dillard? I think was his name.
Yeah.
What happened to that? Right, Ken? I don't know if you remember that he's supposed to do something.
Working on a project, and he, of course, is in Rise of Skywalker. He's one of the stormtroopers that talks about the Knights of Ren when they walk by, right? So, yeah, that's one of those things. I think that, we don't know much more about the Feige thing, everything. There's so much and so much we don't know.
Yeah.
The Lando series, we almost know nothing, and it still seems to be far off. I'm really excited about the Acolyte, but we still don't know much about that either. So yeah, I can't wait to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, I was definitely excited for him because I know I think he directed Slight, a small film that a couple people saw, but he also directed an episode of The Outsider. I don't know if you guys saw The Outsider. It's a Stephen King story that was premiered on HBO. It was a miniseries, but it was really good, and I thought his episode was really, really, really well done. So I got excited when I saw his name on the list of directors as well. So we'll see if eventually that turns out into something, maybe a series or maybe an episode of a series or something like that, or maybe even a short film or a film.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Green Psylop, RB3.
If you'd only had this little green Psylop.
This little green Psylop today is all about inspirational Star Wars moments. This is a short, sweet segment we can quickly talk about, whether it's a character, a quote, a life motto that we live by, a Star Wars moment, a scene, anything you guys want to give a quick shout out to that kind of inspires you and it reminds you why you love Star Wars so much. I'll start with you, Ken.
As I'm talking, I'm staring up at I have a design like a wood frame thing that says "Never tell me the odds." So I'm a Han Solo scoundrel indeed, but it's very hard for me. No matter when you watch Star Wars, it's not about an age or generation thing. You can discover that Luke Skywalker twin sons moment, A New Hope, and it can pull you in. But that was one that spoke to me at the time and in that time of my life. And as growing up in a small town, and a lot of people have that experience, and just stretching out and wanting to be part of something bigger. That is the reason it's so iconic and so powerful is just that, and it constantly speaks to me. There's things in moments in Rise of Skywalker that make me cry. It's not a Navy, it's people, and there's more of us, Poe. There's more of us. I love that kind of stuff. But going back to the childhood, that's in fact I got a painting of it up right here too, the twin sons, and just staring out and wanting to be a part of something bigger, and not knowing that the journey you want is already begun. Ace and Emma, it's already begun. You're on it.
Yes, we are, Emma. How about you, Emma?
Oh man, there's a lot. I kind of go to, I mean, as y'all know that watch this show, I'm a huge Star Wars Rebel stan. I talk about it a lot. I think, there's a couple things, which is like, I love the whole World Between Worlds episode because and honestly, one of the things in it is like when Ezra realizes he can't make the choice to save Kanan, because like what Kanan did was already so monumental to like propelling the forces for good forward that if he undid that, there was no way that he could know whether things would progress in the manner that they had. So like it is like it's Kanan's sacrifice. It's the follow up of like Ezra coming to this understanding of how things happen for a reason, and that like, yeah, you can be sad about them, but also we have to appreciate the sacrifice and know that on some level, like, Kanan's not really gone, as Luke Skywalker says, in The Last Jedi, no one's ever really gone. And in that moment when he says that really resonates with me. And also just everything that happens with Hera after that and how like she still continues to go on to like she's always been like the leader of the sort of ghost crew family. And she just continues to like grow and thrive even after like they all kind of go their separate ways. Like she obviously like rises up and becomes a general in the rebellion, but is also a mother. And yeah, there's a lot. I love both Hera and Kanan a lot as characters. So
love them. Love Kanan, love Hera. I just put Hera in my top 4 all-time Star Wars characters last week when I did it with Alden Diaz when we were talking about our top 4. I love Hera that much. I think she's that incredible. I'll quickly give a shout out. Speaking of Kanan, I will never forget the way I felt when I hear Kanan's voice in The Rise of Skywalker, in that "Be with me, get up" moment with Rey. In the heart of a Jedi lies her strength just gives me chills every time I hear that line. So that's always going to be one of my favorite moments. And at the same time, I have to give a giant shout out to my boy Qui-Gon Jinn. If you ever, like every time I rewatch Phantom Menace, you watch that and you're like, damn, Qui-Gon's a real one. Like Qui-Gon is a gangster. Like he's the kind of guy who thinks ahead, who doesn't think about what everyone wants him to do, what his student wants him to do, what the council wants him to do, the traditional ways of doing things. He's trying to keep the traditions alive, but at the same time focus on things that are not just traditions and trying to move forward and trying to move past that. And I think Qui-Gon might be one of the most groundbreaking characters in all of Star Wars. And I think he's so underappreciated because he's in one movie and he gets killed off. So I think a lot of people forget him, but I think he's an incredible character for sure.
I just love the Phantom Menace Renaissance, but I just love the growth of appreciation for Qui-Gon over the last few years has been just phenomenal. I love it.
RB3, you have one? A quick one? If you want to give a shout out?
Inspiring moments in Star Wars?
Yeah, just any.
Oh man, well I didn't think I was gonna be called upon here.
Sorry, man. If you don't have one, you don't have to.
Well, I don't know if those moments like come on screen though. Like I think a lot of my inspiring moments come when I'm reading like behind the scenes stories of like how they made the original Star Wars and how it was almost impossible to get it like financed and how they shot it and edited it, and a lot of George Lucas's friends like hated it, and they went back and re-edited it and made touch-ups, and it ended up becoming one of the biggest movies ever. Like all those kind of things really are the things that move me the most about like the whole Star Wars franchise in general, because it's all about creativity, innovation, and doing something new and groundbreaking.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, RB3. And obviously that's the one thing about Star Wars that's so incredible. It's not just the impact that it has story-wise, but outside of it, just film-wise, the kind of impact that it had in Hollywood history and in movie history is kind of remarkable. Let's move on to the POC spotlight. Our POC spotlight of the day. For anyone who doesn't know, we do a POC spotlight, a person of color inside the Star Wars universe that we want to highlight, that we want to talk about, and show some love. Today, it's all about Rose Tico from obviously The Last Jedi is where she's first introduced. RB3, I don't know if you have that image I sent you of Rose, but if you do, if you want to toss that up now. And I'll go around the table real quick. Emma, what are your impressions of Rose? What are your thoughts of Rose now that it's been a couple years after The Last Jedi?
Well, I think she was underutilized in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I come at Rose from a very personal standpoint because I did improv with Kelly. So I look at Rose and I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. This girl I know that was on this very sort of similar LA, everybody just trying to figure it out, career trajectory as I was, is in Star Wars. And that's fucking awesome. I think that I appreciated the existence of that character, especially because I feel like she was an archetype that we hadn't necessarily explored, at least certainly not explored as a woman or a woman of color, wherein, she was this kind of just like quirky engineer girl who really just wanted to do the right thing. Like that I think is something that really strikes me about Rose Tico, is she is somebody that's just like really motivated by wanting to do the right thing, and she believes in heroes and heroics. I mean, her sister died effectively a hero. So you understood why she was that way. And I mean, she could have been, distraught and disillusioned by the death of her sister, but instead she saw it as like a very noble sacrifice. And she like tried to live by her own ideals. And we saw her being involved in sort of forcing Finn to like get back on the path of the hero's journey. And whether or not it all was kind of played out in a satisfying manner, I can't really say. I'm sure there's many people that would agree, disagree. I am one of very few people, I think, that had a real appreciation for the storyline that they went on, particularly their encounters with DJ in The Last Jedi. But yeah, I mean, Rose is a great character, and I don't feel like she got her due. That's my feeling.
That's fair. Ken, how about you? What are your thoughts on Rose?
I absolutely love the character of Rose Tico, and yeah, I'm with Emma and lament not used as much in Rise of Skywalker as could have been, should have been, would have been. That's fair, absolutely fair to say. And I hope that the luckily thing is the character still exists.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully we can explore it and reanalyze it. She's powerful in a lot of ways, not just off camera and outside the world. What Kelly Marie Tran means to a lot of people and what she represents, but in the story, she represents Rian Johnson in a way. Don't forget Rian. That's me. I kind of wrote me, the quiet little nerdy kid that now finds themselves part of the story.
Yeah.
And I am one of the ones that loves. I always lament we don't spend enough time in Canto Bight, and the whole the philosophy of Last Jedi is pretty deep, and it takes everything we were raised, especially if you were raised during the 80s, where it's Rambo and it's this and that, and Luke was this kind of slight guy that threw his blade down and learned that his quest to be a warrior wasn't the right way, and it's something else. And Rose represents all that to me. She's a different hero, a true hero. That first interaction, the doing talking scene, is a real key scene to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I love what she brought. She brought some different energy to it. She made an impact. I'm staring at a Rose Tico figure behind the camera here on my wall. And it's, it's a plain figure. It's the maintenance gear. And it wasn't exciting. That was the point to me. We need heroes of all kinds, and at any point you could commit to the thing. And Finn, I'm going on a rant here. Stop me, Ace.
Keep going.
Finn picked up the lightsaber at the end of Force Awakens, not to join the Resistance, to defend Rey, and he had to learn. That's the second movie. He had to learn what to invest in and what to be part of, and I really think Rose is there as a stalwart, never wavered.
Yeah.
And that's a true hero, and the sequence with Paige Tico is great too. So
Yeah, that's an incredible scene, and obviously Rose is an incredible character. She means so much to so many people all around the world. I really do feel like that within itself is good enough, but the fact that she brings so much more than that with the actress Kelly Marie Tran just bringing so much personality and character to Rose herself is really exciting. I will never forget, and I really mean this, I always watch these new sequel movies with my parents, and I'll never forget going up to my parents after the movie thinking about what their thoughts were on the film and all that. And obviously my mom, being the Rey stan that she is, will always go like, yeah, Rey was the best part. She killed it. But I never forget when I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, who stood out to you? Who's your favorite character? And he's like, I really like that Rose girl. I thought you really took that movie. And I was like, really? Okay. I didn't see you being a Rose stan, but sure enough. And I love that moment because I really do feel like so many perspectives we focus on, I talked about this a little bit, Emma, is what people say on the internet and what people who have blogs or YouTube channels say, but not like my parents or not like my nieces and nephews or not like my cousins who don't have YouTube channels and, blogs
film
and
blogs,
film Twitter and all this stuff, who I really like the character of Rose, or I really like the character of Rey. And they don't necessarily have like a megaphone or a speaker to like tell the world how they feel. They just say it and they love it. So that's a good example. Go ahead.
That's a good example because I love hearing about who connects to those characters. And again, there's several valid opinions in the world, but over the last year I have removed myself from Star Wars Twitter. I've muted every word. I cannot can't even see the Force Center posts. I have to go find them. I am not part of Star Wars Twitter anymore. And it's so nice because I have some friends I've reconnected with over the last couple of years, and they're like, some people didn't like some of this stuff. They just had no clue. And it's not that that's right or that's right, but it's just like it's refreshing to enjoy.
Yeah.
I will never forget talking to a friend of mine who's also not on Twitter, and she's a fan of Star Wars, and me kind of telling her like, oh, you didn't hear about this, like the controversy of like the Last Jedi, and they're like, no, I just really like the movie.
Because again, opinions are one thing, and what you take to, Emma takes something different out of this. I take something different. Ace really secretly loves what happened to Baelish. He won't admit it. Like, there's a lot of things going on, but it's the things of like, no one cares about the behind the scenes inside baseball stuff about how these get made or this and that. They're just like, that. Who's Pablo Hidalgo? I don't know. What are you talking about? And I just love that. I love that.
Yeah, which kind of, before we get into my final bit, which is my squad up moment, that's another question I had, and I know you brought it up, Ken, and I don't necessarily want to belabor a point or just like beat a dead horse or a dead, I don't know. I'm going to make it worse.
A dead fathier? Oh, that's dark.
A dead fathier.
A dead fathier. Oh, no.
Sorry. I don't know. But just the idea of how we're feeling about Star Wars at the moment, whether it be the fandom, whether it be the upcoming projects, whether it be the split now between like TV only and movies only, or like TV should be the focus and not movies, anything you guys kind of want to toss in there. And I know this is a controversial discussion or whatever, but how are you feeling, Ken, about what's been going on now? And I know you said you're purposely put yourself out of it, but anything that you've been hearing through the grapevine of the Star Wars universe, are you feeling pretty good about everything? Are you feeling pretty optimistic?
No, I'm good. There's always going to be things, and there's
that's RB3. He's singing.
Sorry. Apologies. My bad.
No.
And there's always important issues to talk about, and there's always things going on, and there's great causes. I don't want to sound like I'm disconnected from any of that,
right?
And the horrible stuff that just recently happened with Christina Ariel. Like, we must be and should be and are aware of that stuff. But I'm just talking about in general. I to use a sports example. I don't watch it as much, but I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, so my football pain is long. But like I used to watch every Sunday, right? And I watched the pregame shows and I watch all this. And after a while, I'm just like, can I just watch the game? I just want to watch the game because I love the game. And that's where I'm at with Star Wars. Now, again, I have a Star Wars podcast. I'm on this Star Wars podcast. I love talking about it, and I love choosing to talk about it in a way that continues to deepen my knowledge and understanding. I've grown as a Star Wars fan in the last 3, 4, 5 years. It's how I see, how I take it in. And again, it's not that everything's been a super home run for me or this or that. Like, I don't like The Mandalorian as much as other people, though I love the series and it moves me and inspires me.
Sure.
But I don't focus on that. I go, what's there for me? What are the themes that they're trying to present to you that I can connect with? And I just want to choose to focus on that. And the internet, I'm someone who believes there's a great power in social media to affect change. And to get words out and put a spotlight on causes and people and all those kind of things. So I'm never going to lament that. I'm not out of it because of that. I just want to get back to the. I still, cry when I watch Star Wars, or I still laugh, or I still go pew pew pew. Or the other night I was trolling along, just looking on the internet, doing some stuff, and the beginning, the Phantom Menace documentary popped up. I've seen it 50 times, and I was like, I ended up watching the whole thing just so I could see Rick McCallum chomp his gum. I just want to get back to that. That's all I'm talking about.
Sure. How about you, Emma? Yeah,
I mean, I think that a lot of what I'm seeing. And I, like Ken, have a very strongly curated mute list. So that was kind of the thing. Like, so I'm friends with Christina. She and I worked together on a music video for our friends, the Library Bards. Incidentally, it was a Star Trek music video. She was Lieutenant Uhura and I was Nurse Chapel. But so like I've known her for years and I know how hard she works and how like involved in fandom she is. And the thing that was so crazy is I literally didn't even see what happened to her until she personally shared something about it because again, my mute list is extremely well curated. So I tend to not see that kind of stuff.
I didn't see it till like that Saturday.
Yeah. Somehow Twitter, I have made it so that Twitter protect me. But the thing is that there are so many Star Wars fans out there that are doing good and that are positive and that just like want to have intelligent discussions about a thing that they love and they don't love all of it. I absolutely adored the first season of The Mandalorian. I liked there were moments of this in the second season that I thought were like the best stuff that's come out of that show. The way stuff wrapped up, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I don't feel like I'm chomping at the bit for the next season. Again, I would have literally zero interest in the Boba Fett series if it weren't for the Robert Rodriguez of it all, but that made me very interested in it. I think that the thing that's great is that it is an era of Star Wars wherein there is a Star Wars for everyone. For example, I don't know how many of y'all know this, but my dear friend Stephen Ray Morris of the Exactly Right podcast network fucking loves Star Wars and like reads all the books. He's launching an everything but the, I think it's like called Everything But the Movies. Hold on, I want to get the title right. Star Wars podcast where he just talks about Star Wars books and comics and so that's the thing is that like there's so much Star Wars out there that like why spend time being mad about the stuff that you don't like when there's a lot of stuff that's out there for you to like. And I think Ace, too, to your point that we are coming to sort of a greater understanding and appreciation of the fact that not everybody that likes Star Wars has a YouTube channel or a podcast or a film blog. And there's a lot of people out there that just like, they like watching Star Wars. They'll check out the occasional podcast, and that's great.
Yeah, obviously there's so much complexity to it, and I've honestly, Ken, I've gotten the opposite effect of what you have gotten in the past, which is I've gotten to see Star Wars Twitter firsthand. But funny enough, I've gotten the positive side of Star Wars Twitter. With, again, I mentioned Alden before, but Alden kind of opening up his web of Star Wars people and Star Wars folks like the Lacey and John Hoey and I forgot what their podcast is called. Resistance, I think it's called.
Podcast, yeah.
Resistance podcast. There's an Imperial Senate podcast. There's a couple other podcasts that I discovered that I never heard of, if I'm being completely honest, through the kind of the web of Star Wars Twitter opening up for me. My issue, and it's always going to be an issue for me because I really do feel like it is an issue. It is kind of the toxic fan base of it all, which is such a major part of the Star Wars community, where I do feel like someone new, let's say, I don't know, a 13, 14-year-old coming into the Star Wars universe, falling in love with the characters of Rey, Finn, and Poe, being like, I love Star Wars. I just saw The Force Awakens. Going on to YouTube, clicking, I don't know, Force Awakens discussion, and then finding all this like racist, toxic, like sexist, really vile stuff. And then they start to watch that and they start to go, oh, I'm not supposed to like this. And I really do feel like that might be, I don't know, a small thing.
I don't know, man. I don't know, Ace. I think
that's,
I have to tell you, I think that does happen to a certain extent. I have a lot of faith in young people. Maybe I'm unwise to think that way.
Go watch Boy State, the documentary Boy State.
But I don't know. Like I guess in my particular field where it's a lot of like weird anime and like import video game fandom, that like I see a lot of really hip, smart kids. And I hope that when these people do go on the internet, that they will like look to others who are more in their peer group, who are like leading the charge in a really positive
That's fair. And I do believe that. The problem is when it comes to YouTube algorithms and when it comes to Star Wars discourse, it's the negative ones that are recommended the highest and the positive ones that are recommended the lowest.
Well, because we got into this fucking era, and I feel like I have cursed a lot on the show today, and I don't apologize. I feel like we've just gotten to this. It's literally what we were talking about at the top of the show. It's this idea of we went so hard in the direction of everything needs to be a fight.
Sure.
And unfortunately, we're still recovering from that.
Yeah. But I just really do feel like if as much as, like I said in the very top of this episode, one negative, one super toxic, one super racist podcast pops up, let's bring up other side of it. Like, let's try and show fandom, the community, anyone who's new coming into the Star Wars community, showing them a different side, because I really do feel like it's such a bummer when I do search, if you do search sequels in the Star Wars YouTube like search bar, it will give you a ton of awful channels that I really do feel is such a bummer when I scroll and I'm just like, God, all of these are just sexist, racist, toxic YouTube channels that are recommended and thrown in my face and being like, here, watch this because it has 5 million views and because this guy owns Rian Johnson. And it's like, oh my God, like this is what people find. And it's such a bummer. And I really want to see more of the side I've seen this last year with like this other podcast that I just mentioned before, and like the Damons and like other channels that are really an interesting side of Star Wars and a different side of Star Wars and not that different toxic side. So
I'm somewhere in the middle. I share Emma's hope. I also don't like the TikTok generation. I share, but in the end I'm joking, but kind of
joking. A little joking.
There's an energy of every generation thinks they're the generation that invented sex. You didn't. All
That's fair. That's fair.
But I choose you choose the light. You go to the light because it's there. That's the Star Wars thing. But Ace, it gets me down. But it's everywhere. This is an age of misinformation.
Yes.
And misinformation is dangerous.
Let's be clear. This is not just Star Wars.
Not just Star Wars. But in the Star Wars world, you mentioned the Rose Tico thing. It was very important for me when it was being discussed when Kelly Marie Tran was on Instagram and got kind of run off and all that horrible stuff. That in the discussions, we at Force Center made sure we liked the character, but the discussion was never going to be about Rose Tico. It was about what's happening to Kelly Marie Tran. And I had other people going on air going, I didn't really like the character, but like that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Character or not, because that then invites the conversation to go that way, and it's not about that, and misinformation and the scoops and all that. And I heard, none of you've made a movie. You don't know what Kennedy does on set. You couldn't guess if you tried, and that became the conversation. And a lot of them, you're right, they're making money. I think like a lot of the people, the Christina Ariel thing who started it, like they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn if you tisk them with or a hashtag on Twitter. Not that stuff's bad. They don't care. They're making their money and they're getting on out of here, and that's part of it too. And it's not just Star Wars. And I wish I could just hug everyone and try to watch. At the Force Center, we just stay in our corner and just try to ask why, analyze the themes, find out what's present in the story, and that's how we choose to engage with Star Wars. If you go another direction, another direction. But it's frustrating. But also, I'm with you, Emma. Like every generation throws the hero up the pop charts, and every generation funds their way forward. And the current generation, I joke about the TikTok generation, but they're also tired of guff, and they're doing what they need to do. And I have a lot of faith going forward.
Yeah, I just feel like the problem usually relies on algorithms that highlight negativity over anything that's positive.
You're talking about YouTube algorithms, a website that was literally invented because a guy was having a hard time finding clips of when Justin Timberlake accidentally exposed Janet Jackson's boob at the Super Bowl. Like, that's why YouTube exists.
Yeah, but the problem is that there's so much that's centered around the community there, and that's where a lot of people try and find some sort of community inside Star Wars. And the YouTube algorithm is like the most vile thing I've seen in social media.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
So it's such a bummer. All I'm saying is like go right now and search like WandaVision clues or WandaVision, I don't know, whatever you want. But the MCU fandom, I'm sorry guys, isn't as toxic as the Star Wars fandom. Or like search like what is Vision's powers. You'll find a couple negative ones, but you won't scroll and see like why Vision is toxic and why Vision is against white men. It's like you won't see that like you will in the Star Wars fandom. And I think it does need to be talked about, because when we start to avoid the subject, that's when they start to get a little bit more riled up, and they start to say like, yeah, this is our domain, this is our hood. And I'm like, nah, bro, it ain't your hood. This is the wrong space to be.
That's not for you.
Yeah, which is why it's such a bummer, because I really do feel like
it's for everyone. And if you can't accept that, like, there's going to be representation in Star Wars outside of what you came to expect based on a movie that you saw in the 70s, sorry, not sorry. Like, you know what I mean? I guess Darth Mr. Me6 in the chat asks, then why, in comparison, say, to the MCU fandom, why is the Star Wars fandom so toxic, though? I don't know that it is necessarily any that it's any more toxic than the MCU fandom. I just think that the Star Wars fandom tends to get in it's a bunch of people yelling in an echo chamber. Yeah. And so because they're amplifying one another's voices, they then come out of there saying, this is how everybody feels, when in actuality, that's not how everybody feels.
No, go ahead.
So, yeah.
But I need smarter people like you all I have this kind of running thought of just like breaking it down. Can't understand all of it, of course, but like, there is, when I say age of misinformation, I heard Lucasfilm was going to kill off the legacy characters because they didn't want to pay George Lucas. Remember when that popped up?
Yeah.
So if you go to social media or Facebook, and I'm not on Facebook a lot either, but like I have friends on there,
not on it at all,
weren't plugged in as much, but they're the type of people that are on other areas outside of Star Wars or outside of even movie news, are fighting what I'd say the good fight. I'm not labeling it any kind of certain political lane, but they're fighting against misinformation. They're posting things about there's no election fraud, all those kind of things where I'm like, yeah. And then that same person will post a moviepoopshoot.net.blog. Did you hear that they did this about Star Wars? And I've literally written some friends. Like, you know what that site's from? That site that comes from is against everything that you stand for. And one of the reasons is because the conversations can be pushed where I think MCU, I'm a big Star Wars fan, as you all know, but MCU's generally been received better, right?
Yeah.
For many years. And look, I'm someone I fell asleep in Endgame. But I've never had a bad time in those movies, and they've done a great job. And the narrative is they've done a great job. The narrative with Star Wars is no plan. By the way, Favreau just Favreau just admitted, yeah, we weren't going to. Luke Skywalker just kind of popped up. I'll tell you right now, they don't know what they're doing with the Rangers and the Republic.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, they don't know. And so that narrative, and so the normal folks who would normally be against racism, sexism, misogyny, and are now joining a narrative that's pushing that, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, Ken. That like with the MCU, the narrative always was, even if you didn't care for the films, and certainly there was a bunch of vitriol over, women characters or characters who were people of color. That
Captain Marvel had a little pushback.
Yeah, just a little,
from a bad section. Yeah,
just a little. Yeah, and again, like I thought Captain Marvel was fine. Right. But again, the conversation, but it's like it's
a different discourse.
Yeah, but it's like the conversation that you were saying, but it's like what you brought up, Ken, the idea of like, yeah, okay, but it doesn't matter what you thought of Rose Tico as a character. The way Kelly Marie Tran was treated is unacceptable. Yeah. But you're right, though, that no matter what you thought of any of the MCU films individually, that they did always push this narrative of, here's every phase that's coming out, and this is about this character, and then there's going to be this crossover. So you really felt that they really drove home the idea of having this extremely strong framework. And because Star Wars didn't do that, it just leaves it to this open season for speculation of like, there's no plan, it's a mess, Kathleen Kennedy should probably be snapped out of existence, so it's just like,
and again, like, not to get into the Game of Thrones conversation again, no, I don't even care about your opinion to season 7 and 8, but what's one of the narratives of Dan and Dave?
Didn't know what to do without the framework of the books.
Yeah, that's very true.
Books in the first 30 seconds of the show in season 1. But you know what I mean? Like, that became a narrative, and that was not true on any level, that Benioff and Weiss were like, yeah, we're out of here. Not true.
Yeah.
They made decisions that maybe you didn't like. And so that's where part of it. And so then that kind of stuff, that's what the age of misinformation, that's what ends up with people storming a Capitol is just, yeah.
Yes.
And they leave this. And they're normal folks, but they leave common sense, and Star Wars is right for that, because sorry, I think Emma, I need a gavel.
Ken, I'm fully supporting what you're saying, which is that basically, again, it's this whole idea, and it's very similar to the way that like cults work, where you're taking people who are vulnerable in some capacity, in terms of where they are in their state of mind, where they are financially, whatever it may be, people who are feeling disenfranchised on some level. And like, disenfranchised can mean a lot of things, like genuinely like being overlooked, what have you. And then, a few other people show up and are like, I'm also feeling this way. And then somebody is able to take advantage of the way that those people are feeling and go, you know what? You're right.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of what happened with the sequel trilogy, where I spoke to people, just random, everyday Star Wars fans who were like, oh, I kind of like The Last Jedi. And then like 2 weeks later, they were like, oh, I saw this video that like told me like The Last Jedi had like no plan, and like Rey is like totally like overpowered, so it sucks. And I'm like, tell me 2 weeks ago that you liked it? What? Yeah. Like, that really happened. And I really do feel like it should be discussed, because I do feel like a lot of it is the Star Wars community, where I said last week, where a lot of YouTubers that had like a general stance on everything started to lean towards that audience, as far as like, oh, this is going to be a lot of clicks. I'm going to start riling it up even more. I'm going to start saying, Star Wars is anti-white and anti-white man. And it's like, what? And I really did hear that from a lot of YouTubers that I was watching over the years that started to lean towards that kind of attitude and that kind of audience. And it's just a bummer, guys. It really is. And obviously we could talk about this forever, but I don't want to keep you guys on here forever.
Look, and I say you could fight outwardly too, and that's definitely not bad, but also just keep your house clean, keep your shows clean, and change the narrative around.
Yeah, change the narrative.
Deal with it pops up, and look, again, it's not just Star Wars. It's weird
everywhere.
Sure. It's a weird world to live in.
RB3, do we have any Streamlabs or Super Chats?
You know what? You came to me just at the right time because I was going to say, you know, we are a channel that promotes positivity and goodness, not just in the Star Wars community, but in cinema in general. So if you want to support, you know, people doing amazing things and not negatively crapping on Black people or people outside of you know, the norm or, you know, whatever, be sure to subscribe to First Cut. And if you want to support us with our firstcut.live. Firstcut.live, that's where you could contribute to the show. $5 plus donations will be read out loud. Here is our one and only donation that we have from Bradley Burnett.
Yeah.
Bradley Burnett donated $20. Great to see Return of the Jedi Council tonight. I'm continuing to add to my home office Star Wars collection. I decided to add some Black Series figures. Already got Luke Han and Leia. Who is the must-buy figure for you?
Ooh, this is a Ken question if I ever heard.
Look, man, I stopped collecting because I ran out of space.
Yeah.
But I really want the Jar Jar Binks Black Series figure they just released. There's some cool stuff.
RB3 made a movie called Timestamp.
Oh, that's from me. Yeah, RB3 made a movie called Timestamp. I'm in it. It's coming out soon. Yeah, and I tell you what though, I was in Target buying coffee creamer and those kind of things, and I always take the toy aisle swing. And I turned around and there was Grief Karga, Black Series figure, and Quill. Oh. And I was like, God, I need it. I
would have bought it for sure.
I had to walk away.
That's Jar Jar.
I love, listen, as I said, I really enjoyed the last season of The Mandalorian. I don't think I liked it as much as the first season, but Grief Karga, yes, Giancarlo Esposito is having the most fun anyone's ever had in Star Wars, probably.
Get it. Yeah, you Grief Karga. No,
I'm sorry. Carl, but you know what? I'd put Carl Weathers up there too.
They both are.
Both of them are.
Because
I am so sorry. I just confused. You know, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Emma, you need to leave and go to bed and probably be canceled.
Well, before you do, Emma.
Emma, we talk a lot every day on microphones and cameras, and sometimes every bit of information rushes into your head at once.
Your brain. And I freaking interviewed Carl Weathers last season for The Mandalorian, and he was amazing. It was fun to talk to him.
Man trying to get a stew on, and I love him.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
His episode was great. His directed episode was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit.
Real quick, guys, let's do a quick squad up. For anyone who knows, I'm wearing my Sun shirt right now. NBA official Sun shirt. I'm an NBA fan, and obviously we had all-star voting. I just voted for my starting 5 in the West and starting 5 in the East. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a starting 5 all-time all-star Star Wars squad. So this is your team that you're picking, and this can be based off your favorite. This could be based off ones that you like right now, ones that you want to highlight right now. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, the ones that you are going to live or die with. But currently, this is how I have the positions, because we all know when it comes to point guard, shooting guard, power forward, strong forward, and center in basketball. For Star Wars, I thought it would be pick one Jedi, one dark side force user, one bounty hunter, one political leader, and then finally one droid, which is obviously going to be your center if in basketball terms. But you guys can start anywhere you want. We're going to go around, pick our draft our team. Let's start with you, Ken. Who's your Jedi?
Is Kurt Rambis still playing in the league? Is he in the league? Kurt Rambis with short shorts. That was for RB3. So. Look, I'll start. I'm going to go my Jedi. He's my Jedi at the moment, but like you said, with the spirit of your it's not my all time right now.
Could be this season. Yeah.
Could be this season. From the High Republic, Porter Engle is a 300-year-old Jedi that is kind of on his. He's retiring, but he's still out there in the field. He doesn't want to retire to the apartments in Coruscant. He's a yeah, he's great. He's in the Light of the Jedi here.
Yes,
Charles Soule is my favorite Star Wars book in the last 5 years.
That's amazing.
Porter Engle's my choice.
Emma, how about you?
You know, I'm gonna go with. We were singing his praises earlier on the episode. Yeah. There's truly a renaissance for Qui-Gon Jinn. I have always said that I would want him to be my like back in the day before I got deeply into additional Star Wars lore. Like I was a Qui-Gon is best master stan. I love I love that he's like not afraid to question shit and like do his own thing. So I'm going Qui-Gon.
I'm so glad I still have my GOAT left on the board. The Michael Jordan of the Star Wars universe, Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi in the house. That is my Jedi. RB3, I don't know if you want to play along, man, if you have any opinions or thoughts or someone you want to draft as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Jedi, you know.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and recruit my boy Kanan, you know.
Oh, yeah. I love Kanan.
Very wise, very knowledgeable Jedi who could really help guide the team, really help direct traffic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say he's like a John Stockton.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's a reference I get.
I'm gonna throw
it's definitely
any
old.
player
but I
from
get
the
it.
'94 All-Star game. I'm gonna throw out.
Yeah. All right, let's pick our dark side Force user. It doesn't have to be a Sith, but dark side Force is how I put it on here. Ken, how about you?
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Fortunately, there's a little less to choose from, right? We haven't seen the full thing. Look, I'm gonna cheat. You know, I think you guys both picked some. You know, Emma, you picked Qui-Gon. Those are some big names. I'm gonna go with my guy Palpatine. I still love him. I want him to lose every time. He needs to lose. But I still love him, and I just love. He chews up scenery, the best of them. Power, unlimited power, still one of my favorite moments in Star Wars. I'm going Palpatine.
Yeah, he's got a long career. The
Kind
guy
of a
does
cheat.
not retire.
He
keeps coming back.
Yeah, he is kind of the Brady, but he'll
He
eventually.
kind of is, yeah. Emma, how about you?
I'm definitely going with a little bit of like in between because she sort of ended up somewhere in between, but I'm going to Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Great choice.
We need more Asajj content.
She's great.
Damn. I mean, it's between two for me that are the clear and obvious ones. I'm going to just say which two it's between since you guys already picked. Kylo and Maul. I'm going to go Maul.
Okay.
I'll go Maul. I'll leave Kylo if RB3 wants to pick him up in his team. I don't know. If that's
Nah, I mean,
RB3's like, nah, I'm going Darth Vader.
no, I actually wasn't going Darth Vader. I was actually going to go with my boy Starkiller.
Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
You love Force
Amazing.
Unleashed.
Yeah.
First
That's a great choice.
Game. Yeah.
Let's pick a political leader now. Any kind of leader. Could be a world leader. Could be a diplomat. Ken, if you want to start us off.
There's actually a lot of choices. I want to go to the Clone Wars, and one of my favorites, and I mentioned a lot on Force Center, but Mina Bonteri, who's in this great one episode. She is a separatist, and Lucas puts in the crawl of Revenge that there's heroes on both sides. That could easily be misinterpreted. Star Wars does take a stance and chooses a side, but there's some convoluted, complicated politics around the prequel era, and she is a great influence. Her son, Lux Bonteri, is also factors in some other Star Wars stories. Mina Bonteri represents, I don't want to say like the good of the Separatists, but represents a realistic side and was a mentor on Padme, who's on, quote, the other side of it. And this is just about like simple reach and cross the aisle stuff for me. It's just, she's a very interesting character with a great perspective, and how Dooku was able to, almost to what you said earlier, Emma, about Dooku was able to find some really disenfranchised planets and societies, and people, and Palpatine preyed on that. Palpatine, bad guy. And it isn't a gray area. It's like they went, ooh, we can get let's take that and manipulate it. But she represented what could have been if there was discourse or a solution. And so I'm going with Mina Bonteri from the Clone Wars.
That's a great choice. Emma, how about you?
I mean, I'm keeping it real basic, but just like you gotta go with Leia.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all of Bloodline is about how she made the choice to basically be that like she knew she was needed in rebuilding the political structure of the entire galaxy. Like, she's the best.
Yeah. Literally might be the best.
Yeah.
I still have my pick up on my draft board right now, guys. I'm so glad I did a mock draft before this. No,
okay.
But I got to pick my number one pick for this position, I guess is what I'm calling it in basketball terms. Padme. I'm picking Padme.
Yeah, I thought about Padme for sure.
I think what Padme does in The Phantom Menace at 14 years old is like what like more than any like world leader has done in their entire career in the span of like one movie. So I'm picking my number one pick, Padme. RB3, do you have a pick, man?
Yeah, I got a pick. I'm actually probably gonna go with my boy Jar Jar Binks here in this case. He seems
Representative Binks.
Yes,
perfect.
That's a great pick.
Nah, I mean, he was actually pretty influential in the prequel. So,
Yeah, he is.
You know, I want to make sure I give him a shout out.
I love that.
Emergency powers, bro.
Padme's a great answer. Scrimshaw kind of once put the label of her of the moral compass in Star Wars and particularly the Clone Wars, and it's very true. And I love Padme.
She's so great in the Clone Wars animated series.
She is. She's so cool. One more, guys. Two more, sorry. We have a droid and we have a bounty hunter. So anyone that you guys want to jump, if you want to jump to your droid now and lock him up, that's your choice, Ken. Or you can go with bounty hunter. It's up to you.
I'll go droid. You called him the center of the team. He might be more the mascot for me, but and maybe a coach. Maybe he's a coach. All right.
Okay.
I'm going AP5 from.
Yes, I love AP5.
So AP5, voiced by the great Steven Stanton, and full disclosure, a lot of us in this community know Steven Stanton. Have got to meet him, and he's so great, and his management team is just so great at reaching out to people. Loves Steven. I didn't like AP5 at first, and I hated that episode where he sang. And I said that on an episode of Rebels, Jedi Council review, whatever. And we had Steven on. And on air, he rebuked me in the most polite way. And he said, sometimes you have to have lower budget episodes to save money to have the cool things, and they're not necessarily filler. And I just was like, I may have missed the boat here. And then he gave me a shirt that a fan made for him that's an AP5 musical. And then I went and revisited that moment. I was like, by golly, I love AP5.
He's the best.
So I'm going with AP5.
Emma, how about you?
This is definitely a team mascot, but an incredibly useful one. But he's just so dang cute. I gotta go BD1.
Hey,
Cal Kestis' little droid from that video game. I don't know words anymore. Jedi Fallen Order. That's the one.
Fallen Order.
It is.
Obviously, I think you took RB3's pick with that.
I know RB3 loves Fallen Order.
Really?
What's your pick now that you took yours, man?
Well, I'm actually going to show some love to my guy from Rogue One, K2SO.
I love K2.
If he's going to be the center of the team, he got to be tall.
Oh, he's a big dude.
Yeah,
he's got that reach, bro.
He's going to lay it down on the line too. He's willing to sacrifice himself in the mission. So.
Protect the rim.
Oh, wait, there's the center of the team. I'm going IG-11.
See, there you go. That's
straight
even
up.
better.
Yeah, protect the rim, defensive. I'm so glad I'm picking the controversial one. I don't know if it's controversial. I love this guy. For anyone out there in the chat who's still here, pull out your choppers. I'm picking Chopper.
I love Chopper.
Man, yeah.
Chopper's my boy, man. Alrighty, finally, our last one, Bounty Hunter Ken, to finish out your squad. Who you got?
Look, there's a lot of choices, classics, cool references. I'm going to do this in honor of my good pal, Van William, a cool singer-songwriter, rock star guy, big Star Wars fan. And one of his favorite characters is Aura Singh.
Oh,
Aura Singh is such a good pick. I love Aura Singh.
Clone Wars, the influence on Boba Fett.
Yes.
I think she had a relationship with Cad Bane. It comes up in some of the comic stuff. Of course, this famous kind of cameo in the Phantom Menace during the pod race. And then the reference in Solo that baby Tobias Beckett was responsible for her death. So I've just always been intrigued by Aura Singh and love that as a choice.
Yeah, it was the fall that killed her. Emma, what's your choice?
I'm just going to go straight up with the intimidation factor. Keep it classic. Everyone's favorite Trandoshan, Bosk.
Bosk is a great one. I had
know what you're getting into with Bosk. You know what I mean? Like, he just kind of puts it all out there.
Yeah.
All
right. I guess you guys left me my choice. I'm picking the GOATs, guys. I'm picking the all-star team, the dream team from. You remember the dream team, right, Ken?
I do. I had a dream team jersey.
There you go.
And I tried to grow a Larry Bird mustache, but I had too much of a face.
I have the Larry Bird of my team. Cad Bane is on my team, guys. I think Cad Bane is my bounty hunter. How about you, RB3? Do you have one?
Well, I don't know a lot of bounty hunters, so I'm just going with the most obvious, Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Yeah, after that one episode, like Emma said, that Robert Rodriguez episode, now he's the GOAT.
I mean, and
he's at least one of them.
Look, as someone who hits the gym every day but also eats donuts every day, Boba Fett, Old Man Fett, I felt represented. Finally, finally, Star Wars saw me.
You're like, I feel represented in Star Wars.
You were like, knee rockets, that's me.
RB3, how many games did you watch in Barcelona in 92 for the Dream Team?
I was not alive yet in 92. So.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you guys so much. Anyone in the chat who played along with us, thank you for playing along. Thank you to Ken and Emma for coming on the show today. Ken, let's start with you. Where can everyone find you?
Sure, easiest thing, go to kennapzok.com or follow me on Twitter at Ken Napzok or Good People GPA. It's hard to find a handle that's not already taken. So Good People GPA is where you can follow us, or go to the gpa.fun. That's a real website. Thanks for having me. Long overdue. I know we were trying to work it out earlier. I really love what you're doing. A missed opportunity over the other old place is just opportunity here for you both, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Emma, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at my name, Emma Fyffe, all over the internet. I also have a website, emmafyffe.com. Emma Fyffe on Twitch. On Thursdays, I am doing Thirst Days, which is at 6 p.m. in the evening. I am streaming Otome games, which are Japanese dating sims and making cocktails. I definitely started playing Code Realize. The one I'm playing right now is a bit, and I am now extremely invested in the story, and it's really good. So please come hang out. And then, of course, you can also find me on new episodes of The Download every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. One of the days is like a best of compilation, but it's on every single day, new episodes. The first premiere time is at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and then there is a rebroadcast at 6 p.m.
That's amazing. Obviously, go support Emma and go check all that out. You can follow us here at First Cut TMO, guys. That's the best way you can support us. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like this video if you liked it. Leave a comment. Let us know what your all-star Star Wars team was. I definitely want to go back and read those. If you're watching this on replay, we can still go back. I'll probably go back and like those comments, guys, so make sure you do that. You can follow me at Squad Leader Ace. You can follow RB3 at Director RB3. We will be back for a live video on Friday talking about the Golden Globe nominations. So we'll be talking all about that. So be sure and subscribe and support First Cut.
And
Sundance. Sorry, guys. And Sundance. We have Paul Oyama reporting for us at Sundance. So make sure and tune in for that. Either way, guys, for the First Cut crew and Sabacc the Block, we're peacing out. Peace out, guys.
Fair and square, baby. Fair and square.